Litany for Those Lost to Climate Change from Erica Barron. I'm going to read a few, and then I'm going to have you respond with "We remember you." In addition to those close to us who may have died as a result of extreme weather patterns, we take the time to acknowledge all those already lost as the world feels the effects of global warming and climate change. Thousands of people, as well as animals and plants, die every year from the effects of global climate change. To all those people lost to extreme heat waves, we remember you. To all those people lost to floods, to hurricanes, mudslides, and other disasters caused by changing weather patterns, we remember you. To all those people lost to hunger as crop patterns change, we remember you. To all those people lost to drought as weather patterns change, we remember you. To all those people lost to disease as the environment shifts, we remember you. To all those animals, siblings of flesh and blood, breath and bone, whose lives have been lost as global climates change, we remember you. To all those plant spirits, siblings of the green world, whose lives have been lost as global climates change, we remember you. To all those species lost forever as global climate changes, we remember you. And this last one, will you please join me in saying, "So may it be." We remember you, and we commit ourselves to restoring balance. So may it be. I have struggled with an infestation of those pesky small kitchen ants for the last week. All the rain this summer has forced them indoors, and I almost feel guilty killing them. Almost. Funny after the litany, right? They are, after all, just trying to survive like all of us. In the South, it seems we're either hoping and praying for water or up to our knees in it, literally. A happy medium never really seems to be found. If you're like me, you've spent the better part of the week obsessing over Hurricane Irma's anticipated path and the wake of destruction she's already left behind. And of course, this is straight off the heels of a continual stream of pictures of Harvey's traumatic aftermath. So it seems that water is at the forefront of our collective minds right now. How fitting then that today we celebrate our water communion. In prepping for this service, I always ask myself, what are the lessons we can glean from water? I figured it would be cliche to mention its fluidity, its way of going with the flow, so to speak. And in any event, that theme seems quite the opposite of how we're experiencing water in our world these last few weeks. What we've been immediately reminded of is that water is a force to be reckoned with. While the water we will share with one another this morning will most likely represent security, peace, renewal, rejuvenation, nourishment, or fun, water can also be a source of pain, destruction, grief, loss, and anxiety. This duality of water, both good and evil, creative and destructive, is an excellent representation of the truth about our natural world and ourselves. We've been sold the story that we Americans are more polarized than ever, that we are no longer capable of meeting in the middle, working towards a common goal, a sure sign of inability to recognize ourselves in one another. Article after article over the last year or two has cited studies proving this point, and while I'm not exactly disagreeing with it, I think it's worth saying that I don't see this as our natural state of being. The natural world, of which of course we are all a part, is not polarized. It's more shades of gray than any of us can count. The air, for instance, as Chelsea pointed out, is both a necessity of life, even a source of comfort, perhaps in the form of a soothing caress on a cool autumn day, similarly today, and also the requirement for a terrifying hurricane, air wreaking havoc across an entire region, killing many with its frightening force. And the earth, The soil nourishes us through cultivation of food, provides endless opportunities for awe and wonder, and at the same time creates swift, slippery destruction through landslides, sinkholes, and volcanoes. Animals can be our best friends and our sole source of companionship sometimes, and within an instant they can turn vicious and frightening. And as for us, not a single one of us is only either good or bad, cruel or kind. We are a continual series of ands/alsos, capable of fierce love and loyalty, and also jealousy, rage, and even hatred. The world presents to us few, if any, absolutes. We are not composed of absolutes. We require a greater understanding of our complex world and the multifarious nature of our inner lives. Our faith encourages us in this worthy goal. It calls us out to embrace our complexity, to reach out and see the humanity in others and in ourselves, knowing we are all composed from various influences. We all have different familial histories, genetics, ideologies, politics, and theologies. As UUs, we know that this isn't a problem to be solved, but rather a gift to enrich in our lives and our community. The Water Communion celebrates the many sources of our faith. That's what they tell us. What is your source? From what direction are you called to this community? What gifts have you received in the differing viewpoints presented within this church? In what ways have you been allowed to bring your whole, complicated, wonderful, messy self to this place? As much as I have hated waking up to those little black ants in my kitchen, I encourage us all to be like those ants. Come together, sniff out what is life-giving to you, and don't let a little drywall, sealant, or even a little ant poison discourage you from reaching it. The sermon today was short because we are going to spend the majority of our time during Water Communion. As is our tradition, I invite each of you to form one line down the middle aisle and take turns at the microphone. You're invited to share your name, to pour a bit of the water you have brought, or the symbolic water that we've provided in the form of these lovely pitchers over here, into the bowl, and in a sentence or two, please share why it's meaningful to you, why the water that you have brought or that you share symbolically is meaningful to you. Please be mindful of our time at the microphone so I'll have a chance to share. Then please use the outside aisles to return to your seats. I'll ask you to please help your neighbors who may have mobility issues so that everyone who wishes to take part may. Okay? Let's begin.
I wanted to begin to share with you my water. It comes straight off from Mount Yellow. It runs through our backyard. I have 2 water features, one on my deck, one out front, of which my little fish sits by because I can't have fish in my water because I've got raccoons and other things that have fun with it. I do have frogs that visit though. And the water is such a joy for Tom. He can sit on the back porch and watch the birds, the squirrels, the crows, the big birds. The raccoon visits, I think, quite often because it's all splashed out come morning, but we don't see him out there at night. So the comfort, joy, fun, whatever, comes with my water. You're welcome to use the fish too. And you've got you little guys, here's some for you, unless you want to use the big fish as you come and give your water.
This water is from in my well.
Cleveland Board.
And last 4 or 5 years, it's been a real source of resentment, anger, and that sort of thing, because we shared our well with a couple of neighbors. But we recently got back from a trip to Colorado, and now I look at our well with great gratitude, because where we came from, you can own property that has water on it and not have the right to use it. If you want to build a business somewhere, whether there's adequate water or not is one of the prevailing things that are considered before you get to have a well or not. And we have an abundance of water, so for that I'm grateful.
This is water from the Chattahoochee River, where we saw the solar eclipse, and that was a very special event for us. Do you want to say something?
We're Wynn and Robert Ewing. This water is from... The short one. This water is from our new home into which we moved a month ago, and 2 weeks later we went to South Africa. This represents the fact that we have water in our tap that we can drink that they cannot do in South Africa. They drink bottled water, even the people who live there, because the water's not safe. So we're very fortunate.
My name is Maria Zayas. This water is from my well. I love my water in my well. It feeds everything in the area. I drink it all the time. It's all I drink. It's clean. It's unadulterated. It has no chemicals in it. It's natural from the source of creation. So I bring this as a representation of the truth of possibility of the world, and relish the fact that we have access to that truth.
Okay, well, this is water that I use to make my coffee, which gives me joy and energy. Then I take my coffee grounds outside, dump them on my plants to fertilize my plants, which grow they grow well. And so the carbon dioxide that my plants give off go up into the clouds, clean the world. Clouds bring rain, bring me more water to make more coffee. Which is maybe a little selfish.
My name is Don, and this water could have come from Barcelona yesterday, but I was in such a hurry to get from the ship to the airport, I forgot. On Thursday, it could have come from Isle of Dupree, which is where they had 5 inches of rain while we were there on a bus tour, got soaking wet. Or on September the 1st, it could have come from Athens, Greece. They didn't, but this is... I'm glad I went, and I'm glad I'm back. If anybody wants to play with my euros I have left over before I convert them back to cash, let me know.
It's always hard to follow, Don, isn't it? This is represents water from our new well that is with the subdivision that began February, and we are all thankful because the old one was dying quickly.
I'm Melissa Stump. I bring love from Eve. She had to work, so she couldn't make it up. Recently came the possibility in our family that we might have to leave this wonderful area, and fortunately, that is not the case. So this is from our creek, and with my hope to be here for a long, long time to come.
My name is Demi Navarro. Water has always been special to me, specifically the ocean. Unfortunately, I haven't been to the beach recently, so I don't have anything with me. But I don't know, I've always felt, I'm not a very strong swimmer, but I've always felt more at home in the water than on the land. I've always kind of wondered, my family is from the Philippines and I was born in Portland, Maine, so I've always been very close and very strongly connected to the water and to the beach and the ocean specifically. So that's for my ocean.
Good morning. This water is from the land on which I live, Starbridge Sanctuary. I've owned that for 24 years and have provided sanctuary for unusual weddings, festivals such as Hemlock Fest, and for folks to come and be renewed. I'm very grateful to bring this water and share it with you.
I'm serving a dual purpose. Kathy, this is water
Cleveland.
from Cleveland, Georgia. And the water that I bring covers not as far as Dawn has gone, but I'm thinking of the Vancouver in North Carolina.
Wow.
I'm Annie, this is Nolan, and this water is symbolically from the Mississippi and the Missouri River. We were in Missouri this summer and in St. Louis, where we're going to be moving when school's out, which both Nolan and I feel very ambivalent about, that it's his mother's decision. And in St. Louis, we made a choice to take in a member of our family, my great-granddaughter, who was no longer welcome in her parents' home. And unfortunately, that has turned out badly, and she left us, and we had to make a decision whether we were going to let her go or report her as a runaway. And we decided that she's 17 and we would let her go. And she's already gotten herself in trouble, and we've had to wash our hands of that. And I have to say that I am really sorry about the way all this turned out, but Nolan and I are both very grateful that we don't have to live with all the drama in our family anymore.
Hey, I'm Jill. This water is just to recognize the community that we have here and my gratitude for that community.
I'm Robert, and this water literally brought my family from Boynton Beach, Florida up to stay with us right now. So they are safe, and I'm so grateful to have my family and that connection being made again. So water is the life force, and I'm so grateful for what it's doing for my family right now in a weird way.
I'm Brenda, and this water represents all of the water that I got soaked with every time I left the hotel at GA. It was a fun time. So.
I'm Chelsea. This water represents the water from all my fun travels over the summer, going to the beach for my birthday in March, to GA and all the fun places we've been. It also represents all the slobber from this baby that I've been doused in, and the tears from little Lila for happy or sad, and all the other babies in the world. So.
Hi, I'm Jane. This water to me symbolizes the water that's being used to put out the fires all over our country right now. Our daughter lives in Portland, Oregon, and she is affected with the air quality with all the fires that are in Oregon right now. And it's so sad, so thank you for water.
This water is also from the Chattahoochee, from my parents' place. Chattahoochee is where I fell in love with my husband as we were jumping from rock to rock and going off of the cliffs jumping. It's where Lila had her naming ceremony, dipped her feet in the Chattahoochee River, and it's where my family joins together for all of our big water events.
I am grateful for all of you having brought water and sharing it, and I just encourage all of us to keep sharing this gift. I didn't really know till this year that bees love water. I had put a water fountain out for my hummingbirds, and I started noticing I'd have over 100 honeybees that have come from somewhere, and you know, dear God, help them back to wherever their home is before winter. But now I put water out for the bees every day and out for the raccoon at night. And just grateful for that ability to share the life that is in water.
Is there anyone else? We're gonna, as we did last year, bless this water. This water will be used in upcoming child dedication services, baby namings, bridging ceremony, and other things. Yay! May the waters gathered here remind what each of us brings to this community. Diversity of thought, theology, identity, history, politics, experiences, and gifts. May we be reminded of the waters that nourished us in our mother's wombs before we came to know the power of a storm, the peace of a river, the vastness of the sea. May we remember the waters that continue to give us sustenance and energy for our life's many journeys, and that of all creatures on this earth. We bless this water together, calling it sacred and holy because it comes from places dear to us and remains meaningful even after blending together with waters from elsewhere. Amen and blessed be. Generosity is a spiritual discipline, and because of your generosity this morning, we have a warm and welcoming building to enter. Music to uplift us, staff to help spiritually nourish us, and a beloved community to inspire us. Let us continue the important work of our mission as we now accept the offering.